calm down, folks. Just calm down.
Whew. Hi, everybody, and welcome in to night 3 of the Best Boys Center Ice podcast, Stanley Cup Playoff 2026 wrap-up show. I'm Barry Besse, and along with me, of course, the guy right below me is the expert, the most handsome part of the Best Boys Center Ice podcast. CARSON Besse is with me as well, and night 3, 4 games on tap. Tonight, as we went into a couple of 3 of them were game 2s, one of them was game 1s, and we'll start with a game that I'm still trying to shake. I'm shaking my head at a little bit, Carson, and I know you are too. The game that started everything off was Pittsburgh Philadelphia. Philly came out and won game 1, expecting Pittsburgh to come out a little bit better. And it seems like Pittsburgh is just a step behind so far. And unfortunately, Philly got the best of them again tonight.
Yep. Yeah, their run's going to be very short with how they're playing. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's not fun to say that. I don't want to think that they could get swept, but the way they're playing, they could get swept with how they're playing. They're literally, there's no adjustment being made to what Philly's doing. They started off the game okay, but they're just they're they're not they're just missing. They're not really shooting it. When they're shooting it, they're missing the net. They're looking for the perfect play, and it keeps failing. And it's like, they somewhat figured out how to wear down that in the third period, that 1-1-3 whole rush formation that the Flyers have, but I mean, it just wasn't good enough. They kind of the same story as game 1. There's no goals really, and for the first half of the game, there's only less than 10 shots in the whole first period combined, and that's what the Flyers want. That's what they want. That's what they want, is to keep the Penguins away from shooting it. And I mean, when they had their chances, they made them count. I mean, Stu kept them in the game. Really, he made some big saves, but yeah, it's crazy how this is all turned. The things that the Penguins really had the advantage at, that really were turning the series in their favor before, are what's killing them right now. Their power play's been awful. They can't get the puck on the net, and they got scored on the power play, so shorthanded. Yeah, that's just my big complaint, is that they're missing the net. They just shoot and they're looking for the perfect shot, and it's so frustrating. It's like, just shoot it on the net, like, get it on the net. You never know what's going to happen if you get it on, but they're trying to pick corners, and it's just not gonna happen. So it sucks. You play 2 games at home and you get outplayed pretty much every facet of the game. Yeah, I mean, I'm really wondering what's going to even happen these next couple games. I'm really just, you win game 3, yeah, you're good. You're back, you're 2-1, but they got to win that game. And I mean, the way they've played, they haven't shown any really signs that they're going to play that good again. Like, they're just kind of out.
Is it the fact that they can't figure out Philly's? Was it a 1-3-1? Have they can they get that figured out? Like, it just seems like in game 1 they had better opportunities. Game 2, they just seemed to, like, they couldn't find. You're right, and I totally agree. Too much passing. Shoot the puck more. Okay, they had 27 shots. They led, the 27, 23 shots on goal, but they still have to shoot the puck more.
Yeah.
You see Crosby seems to be frustrated. Malkin seems to be frustrated. Um, you know, Stu did play, kept him
He
in.
had a good game. He had another good game. So
He had a
it's
good
the
game,
plus.
but I don't know. Philly is just like this. Um,
I think what's frustrating for the Penguins is that the Flyers did not play this way the entire season. They didn't
yeah,
play this way against them. They literally didn't. The Penguins, I believe in the regular season, were 7 for 18 on the power play against them. And as far as the 5-on-5 game was concerned, it was the same thing, where the Flyers were not playing like that. And I think they just kind of were able to figure it out by just watching tape and stuff, like how to break it down. And um, I definitely think the third period was the best one of the game. I mean, they substituted the Chinikov in for Raquel 1 and 2, and I like that. But um, I mean, like, you got to shoot it. Like, you got to shoot it, and you got to hit the net. And they're not doing that. They're firing it wide. They're firing it over the net. No one's wanting to shoot the puck on the power play. Everybody's just wanting to pass it around. Honestly, I would be a-okay if they do 100 times where they just filter it back to CARSON at the point and he keeps shooting it on the net. Because what's going to worse is going to happen? He gets blocked. Okay, whatever. But they're trying to find the perfect passing play, and it's just not happening with how Philly's defending. And it's very maddening to watch them do the same stuff and not change anything. But it's all it takes is a breakthrough, and
Yeah.
they got to
Well,
just get a couple. They just got to get a couple goals in and see that puck go in and be like,
yeah.
okay, let's shoot it.
Because when you take shots from the point, if there's a chance, you're going to get a rebound. It's going to go, you can do that great where it goes off the goalie's pads and there's a
Even
guy
if it
right
goes
there.
off for a guy, like it goes
No,
in, like who
just
cares?
something, now I think, okay, they've lost the first two games at home. All right. You never want to do that when you got home ice advantage. But now you can go into Philadelphia. You know what the atmosphere is going to be like in Philadelphia. It's going to be nuts. But I think there's a little less pressure on a team that is going into another team's arena down 0-2, because they have to really fight for them. They have to bring
Yeah,
it within themselves.
yeah.
There's more pressure on Philadelphia because they're going to be at home game one. Pittsburgh needs to take advantage of maybe the Flyers being a little jittery in
And
front of their home crowd.
early. If they
Yeah.
can get in that game, start early and get a goal before the first commercial,
Yep.
because they haven't had a lead at all. They haven't had a lead yet. I mean,
No.
that's the fact. Matter of fact, they've played 120 minutes and they haven't had a lead for 1 second,
No.
and they've got to jump on them early and often. And I mean, I don't care if you win 7-0. You gotta get it done, because
Yep.
they're right now. You can just tell the room is just like they're all over the place. Like, everybody's shell shocked that this is happening. I don't think anybody pictured this.
Yep.
But uh, I'm encouraged by what I saw in the third period. I will say that. I am
Mhm.
encouraged by that. So you got to do that kind of whole thing again. And if you win game 3, it's 2-1. That's it. It's 2-1 if you win game 3. And you have an extra day off after that. But
Yeah.
uh, I'm just, yeah, I'm very, very frustrated just because I know what I've watched all season, and it
Mhm.
wasn't that.
It's not that.
No,
No.
no,
These first two games have not been how the Penguins have
no,
played this year, and it's
no.
really frustrating too to watch.
Yeah, and it was weird. Like,
Um,
my feelings going into it, just very like nervous. Like, confident. Was I confident? Yes and no. Like, I mean, I had mixed feelings because I just didn't know what I was going to get out of Philly being such a hot team at the end,
mhm.
and my gut has kind of been right. I mean, I've been nervous for these games, and I'm hoping that Wednesday. I mean, that they just shut everyone up, and their fans included that are pissed off at them right now.
Yeah. Well, it's only you just got to win one game. You got to see it. This is what I always say. When you're going into your down in the series, you just got to take it one shift at a time, one period at a time, one game at a time.
And the annoying part is that they won. I think you look at the game. They played better than Philly did. They've dominated the offensive zone portion of it,
Yeah,
where
they
they're
did.
they're controlling
They
the
did.
zone. It's
They were
just
in
the fact that
totally,
they're not
totally.
getting the puck on. That's it. They're not getting the puck on the net, and when they're getting chances, they're blowing it. That's
Yep.
it. That's the only thing that's killing them right now. Because if they can keep getting the zone the way they have been and just shooting it more on net, I think they're in a better spot. And Stu, even though they've lost 2 games, he's had 2 very good games, and he said it
Mhm.
himself. He has had 2 great games. I think if he keeps playing that way, they're okay. But
Yeah.
they, on the offensive side of it, they've got to be smart, and defensively they got to be smart. They're trying too many cute plays. I feel like sometimes they just get them trapped, and they're not in sync sometimes, and they gotta lock it in. That's it.
Yeah. Well, game 3 in that series in Philadelphia will be on Wednesday night at 6 o'clock our time. We'll move on chronologically
Oh, this game was
to a
amazing.
game where I was just kind of like, I thought it was a throwaway game. But basically, for me, this game was the game before the Oilers game. So it's like, okay, we'll just get this over with so we can get to the Oilers game. Well, as it turned out, this was our first multi-overtime game, Ottawa and Carolina. And again, the scenario started out exactly the same as it did in game one. Carolina got the first couple of goals, looked like they were rolling. Second period, come along, they were up 2-0. And then all of a sudden, here comes Ottawa in the second period with a couple of goals within like literally like I think it was only like about a 4 or 5 minute span. And it's tied 2-2, no goals in the third. So we go to overtime. And then the controversy in overtime, and I want to get your take on this, because of course, with it being on ESPN2 and the Oilers game, they moved it to a channel that I don't have. So I was kind of watching more of the overtime game. And it was, again, looked like Carolina got the overtime winner late in the first after on a delayed penalty, but they called it back because of offside. Now, we looked at it, they looked at it, the NHL looked at it, and they called the goal back. What I think it was a bad call. I think it was not offside. I think the interpretation of the offside rule is if your foot is even if your foot is in the air and it looks like it's on the blue line, it should be. And then if it's possession by your team, I think Carolina had possession. I think everything was fine. They called it back, and then they gave them a penalty shot. So you think, okay, they're going to get a penalty shot. But then, of course, they missed a penalty shot. Eventually, Carolina did win. But that could have really been that right there. If Ottawa would have found a way to score, could have really switched that series over.
Yeah, and I mean it's one of those. That's the offside thing. We've discussed that. We've talked about it. That if it doesn't affect the play, I don't think it really makes a difference.
No.
And it was kind of one of those puck don't lie moments that it didn't. I mean, Carolina won that game and they got it back again and won. Stings for Ottawa for sure. You get back in the game because of that, and then you played honestly. They played a pretty good game, but yeah, that's a hard place to play in, and they go back home. I think you go back home probably feeling, even though you're upset you lost, you feel pretty good with how you played, and knowing if you do that again, your chances are pretty good. But yeah, I mean, weird kind of situation and circumstance, but Carolina earned it for sure, and I'm glad they got that one back.
Yeah. So Carolina wins in overtime, 3-2. Martin got the game winner. He was the guy. He was the one that scored the goal that got waved off, wasn't he?
No,
And then
it
he
was
missed.
Jankowski that scored, but he was the one
Jankowski,
that got the
missed
he was the one that got the breakaway, the shootout,
he
or
missed
the penalty
penalty.
shot.
And that was the first ever
Overtime
penalty
penalty
shot
shot.
in a Stanley Cup playoff game in overtime, I think. And
Yeah.
anyways, bottom line, Hurricanes win 3-0. They're up 2-0 in their series, and they will play again on
Wednesday. Or is it Thursday?
Tuesday or Wednesday?
Wednesday, I imagine. Yeah, because today's
23rd is that's Thursday.
Oh, they don't play till Thursday. Wow.
They don't play till Thursday. The 23rd is their next game. On game 3 in Ottawa will be on Thursday night. Now, a game that was a definite must win. The first real must win of the playoffs in Dallas. Stars in Minnesota. After the Stars got totally humiliated in game 1, 6-1, they came back and showed the reason why the Stars were the second best team in the NHL. They played, I think they played definitely a whole lot better.
They played a good game.
They went 2 for 5 on the power play, so that helps their power play. And they just looked from the parts of the game that I saw, just looked like Dallas. They looked like the Dallas team that played so well in the regular season. And we knew that it was that they weren't going to just lay down and go to sleep in game 2. Wyatt Johnson got a couple of goals, including a power play on an empty netter. Duchesne got a goal. Jason Robertson got a goal. Brock Faber got, I think he got both goals for Minnesota. So I think Otter played a lot better. Maybe he still, I'm still not thinking he's playing like Otter of a couple of years ago, but he did what he had to do. The Stars did what they had to do at home tonight, because if they would have went down 0-2 to Minnesota going to St. Paul, that would have been very tough. It's still going to be tough. It's tied 1-1 going into what's going to be a crazed Minnesota St. Paul arena. But I think Dallas definitely saved themselves with this win tonight.
Yep, I mean, you said it perfectly. Pretty much, they played a really good game, and I mean, anytime Minnesota kind of came back into it, they held the fort down, and that if I don't know if you saw that clip, you need to see it eventually. The empty netter that Johnston got was kind of weird. It was they so the last, because you were watching the Oiler game, in the last 3 minutes, each team, or in the last 3.5 minutes, each team took a too many men penalty. Each team. So Dallas took one first. Minnesota got their power play and they didn't score on it. And then shortly after theirs ended, they took a too many men penalty. So it was now basically 5-on-5 with the goalie pulled. And Johnston got the puck after a chance from the Wild, and he flipped it down, and the puck was like rolling on its side. And Quinn Hughes is skating towards it, but it looks like it's going to go hook right to go to the boards and be icing. So he kind of slows down a little bit so that way he gets there. Well, all of a sudden, the puck wobbles on its left side and turns and takes like a whole 90-degree turn and goes into the goal. Crazy that it went like that, but they earned it. They had a good game. Otter had a good game. This is going to be a series. It's going to be a long one, and Dallas needed to win it, and they got it done. Now they go to St. Paul, but that's huge for Dallas. And I don't think you hang your head if you're the Wild. You got your job done. You got a game there, and now you go back home. But a very, very good bounce back game for Dallas to win.
Yeah, and they'll play Game 3 in that series on
Wednesday.
Tuesday night.
Wednesday.
At Wednesday night. Sorry, at 8:30. Our time. Now, the game that just ended here a little while ago, a game that I was very interested in watching, the Edmonton Oilers and the Anaheim Ducks were the only team yet to play a game in the Stanley Cup playoffs until tonight. And it's in Edmonton. It started out typical Edmonton. They got a first couple of goals of the game. Jason Dickinson back in the lineup after being out for a few games with an injury. He gets the first goal of the game on a just a beautiful play. I unfortunately couldn't see it until afterwards when I watched highlights because of the way ESPN does their stuff. But they made it 1-0, and then late in the first period, Kasperi Kapanen made it 2-0 Edmonton with about a minute and a half left in the first period. Leon Draisaitl gets his first point back after being off 15 games. So the Oilers go into the second period up 2-0, which a lot of times you're thinking, okay, well, that's good. Well, for the Oilers, sometimes that 2-0 lead is not very safe, and not against the Anaheim Ducks, because that's when I started getting to watch the game, was in the second period. And right away, 19 seconds into the second period, Troy Terry gets a goal. And it was just like, and automatically my head goes to that 2-0 lead. That 2-0 lead. And then sure enough, Leo Carlson gets his first at 4:38. It's tied at 2. And you're thinking, okay, well, tied at 2. Here we go. And then on the power play, literally, it was within a second or two of the power play being started, and Terry gets his second goal. So it's 3-2 after 2 going into the third period. And you're thinking, okay, well, we've seen this scenario before, Carson. We've seen it before. The Oilers get down, they get up, they get behind, they get into the third period, and something happens, and then they turn things on. And about the 11:30 mark, they sure did. Jason Dickinson it was and like we were talking about in the Pittsburgh Philadelphia game. You shoot the puck on the net, and you never know what can happen. Ekholm took a shot off the pad of the goalie, went right out in the open, and Dickinson was wide open. There was nobody there. It was him and Savoy, and Dickinson put it in for his second of the game. That's what you have to do. You just got to shoot the puck on net. And then late in the game, at a little over 2 minutes left in the game, Kasperi Kapanen gets his second of the game from Podkolzin and Draisaitl. Just a lot of great work, forecheck by Draisaitl, a great pass from behind the net from Podkolzin to Kasperi Kapanen. The Oilers get the goal. They win the game 4-3. But this Anaheim Duck team, I knew that this was a team that you might not want to face in the playoffs. We talked about them. They were leading the Pacific Division for a lot of the year this year. A young team. They don't. I don't know if you say they don't know any better. They don't know that they're not supposed to be this good. But they went into Edmonton going against the defending Western Conference champions, team that's been to the Stanley Cup final last 2 years in a row, and they gave them a damn good run for their money. The Oilers had to come up with some Oiler magic, and the fact that there was like 2 goals from guys Dickinson and Kasperi Kapanen. I know Draisaitl got a couple of points. McDavid didn't get a point. Ingram had a strong game. He made saves when he needed to, especially at the end. A little bit of a toe save on what looked like was going to be a for sure empty net game tying goal. He stopped. He had he stopped. Well, he was at 28 shots on goal so he stopped 25 of them. I think Ingram is the guy. He again, I feel more confident with Ingram in the net. Tristan Jarry, I don't feel confident. I guess if things fall apart for Ingram a little bit, they can put Jarry in. But Ingram looked solid tonight. Both goaltenders really looked solid. It was just some great plays for the goals. And like I said, the Oilers did what they had to do. They came from behind in the third period and won. But they got to look out. This Anaheim team is something else.
Yep. I mean, both teams are very good. And I mean, yeah, that's the Anaheim's just a very, very interesting team because of how young they are and they haven't been here in a while. And a lot of those guys haven't been here before and they're just kind of playing with fire, and same thing for the Oilers. They got something to prove, and they're trying to get back to the promised land. And this was a very good start. Obviously, the role guys coming in key for the Oilers today, but we always say no matter where you're at in the series, you win the game and you kind of forget about it after a little bit. You celebrate for maybe like 10, 15 minutes, and then you're like, okay, on to the next one because that next one is just as important as the one that you just did. And so, yeah, very good for Edmonton, but I think Anaheim, you're upset you lost, but you're happy with probably how you played. They played a pretty good road game, and both teams just got to be ready to go. But very good start for the Oilers for sure to get that one done.
Yeah, I think Anaheim has a little bit of a taste of like, we could do
We
this.
can hang with these guys.
We can hang with these guys, and it was a great game. I still think the game of the night was the Ottawa Carolina game. Just the fact, not the fact that it went at overtime and how it was played, and how I don't think people given Ottawa. We didn't even give Ottawa much of a chance. But they're proven to be tough opponents, so that could be a little different series than what we thought it was going to be. But next game 2 for the Oilers and Ducks Wednesday night. That's going to be the late game again on Wednesday night. It'll be I think it's a 9 o'clock start. And the good thing about it is I think it's going to be on the Turner Network. So if the other game goes late, they can put it on one of the Turner channels, and I'll be able to watch it. So coming up, I guess later today, because we're already into Tuesday, we've got 4 more games coming up. It's going to be Montreal and Tampa Bay, game 2 in Tampa Bay. Montreal leads that series 1-0. That's going to be a 6 o'clock start Central Time. And then another game, of course, I think the game I'm going to be really focused on and watching a lot is going to be the second game, Boston and Buffalo. It's going to be Sabres leading 1-0 after that incredible game one.
Yep.
I'm excited to see the Sabres and what they can do in game two. If they can take the second game, or if Boston can come back, that's to me, that's going to be the game of the night. That's going to be a 6:30 start here in Central, and then followed by the Utah Mammoth in
Vegas.
Las Vegas against the Golden Knights. Knights having a 1-0 lead there. I still think Utah is going to make some noise in that series. That will be an 8:30 Central Time start, and then the late game is the Kings and the Avalanche. That'll be 9 o'clock. I think the Avalanche. It's going to be hard to beat the Kings. Uh, I don't know if they need to win. They definitely need to win this one, or else this series
Yeah.
might be over pretty quick. But that'll be the wrap up. So that's 9 o'clock Central. We'll be
Probably
on
midnight again.
that, huh?
Probably midnight again.
Yeah, probably about midnight again. Expect us to be, depending on if there's overtime or not. But we'll be on the air probably about the same time. You can catch the Best Boys Center Ice podcast live right after a half hour after the last. If you're not sure about the timing, just take a look at this. Whatever the last game is, we're on about within a half hour of that last game. Carson does a great job with keeping up on the stats and all the graphics that you see on the screen. But we're usually on both YouTube and our Facebook channel. You can join in as well. I know it's late or early, depending on how you look at it, but we're going to do this every night of the playoffs, right through until, like we say, somebody hoists the Stanley Cup in June. It's an exciting time. I know there's some, disappointment in some of the games that happened today. But what's the great
You
about?
think?
Huh?
You think?
Yeah, just a little bit, but there's always another game, and the playoffs are so you can't really count anybody out of the playoffs. Even if you're down 0-2, if you're up 2-0, 1-1, you can't count anybody out because a series could turn on a dime. It just takes a play or two, and a series can turn around. So we'll see what happens with Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. We'll see what happens with Ottawa and Carolina. It's just exciting time of the year. Whether you're a fan of the game, whether your team's in it or not, this is a great time of the year. We love focusing and talking about the games afterwards. We're going to be here again every night after the last game is played. Thanks again, Carson. Great stuff. Again, the best analyst in hockey that I've ever heard of. And we'll be back tomorrow night about midnight after the Colorado and Los Angeles game. So we're going to wrap things up for night number 3. And in the meantime, and in between time, everybody have a great hockey night.